So I did my project on the analysis of Lee University students' opinion on required service hours. What's the point? The point of this project was to see how Lee students feel about the mandatory service hours here. I wondered if age, sex, and/or ethnicity played a part in these students' opinions. And I also wanted to compare my initial thoughts to the data collected. How was the survey conducted? First, I made a 10-question Google Form survey that was approved by my professor. Then I sent the link out to my participants via GroupMe, WhatsApp, and just regular text. We had to have at least 50 respondents, and I had 52. After that, I analyzed the data, and I summarized my findings and gave an update on my project. The difficulties I encountered. It was very challenging to find enough participants, and I really think that's due to the COVID-19 precautions that are in stone. Because of that, I don't have many classes that are in person, so I don't know my classmates very well, so it's kind of awkward to ask a random person to take a survey that they don't really care about or really know anything about. And it's just really hard to approach students right now in the midst of the pandemic. Another issue I faced was that most of my participants were female, so the data is not totally accurate because the male population wasn't equally represented. The diversity of students really played a part in my project. Most of my participants had a variety of religious affiliations. This could have affected how they answered the survey questions. Most of my participants were Caucasian. This also could have affected their opinions and answers. And you can look at the charts to the right here and see what I'm talking about. How many service hours should be mandatory? Well, based on my survey and my findings, the women's opinions were very diverse and scattered. They all believed different numbers. The men thought roughly uniformly. The vast majority believed 60 service hours in 4 years would suffice. Across both genders, everyone seemed to agree that 60 hours of service should be required to graduate as opposed to the current 80. Service hours for student athletes. I believe that student athletes already have more than enough on their plate without adding 80 extra hours of required service. Most of my participants agreed with me, and you can reference the pie chart below to see that. Future project directions. If I were conducting a survey similar to this in the future, I would get more males to take part in the project. The male population of Lee was not equally represented in my data. Therefore, the data does not accurately show all of Lee's opinions on service hours. I think adding more male participants to a project like this in the future will make the data collected more precise. Takeaways. Overall, this survey showed that Lee students want to serve others and that they believe service hours are good. However, most think that 80 hours is a little too much to ask when you add the other demands here at Lee. According to the survey, the participants want 60 hours of required service instead of 80, and I really think that's fair, and I think I agree with the results of my survey.